you know.
Q, how you doing, sis?
Hey, what up? So, John was popping. Damn, man. All right. Big sis energy. When we on the YouTube streets, we've had a numerous amount of conversations with the men about the generations, and they usually don't go too smoothly. You often find that Generation X, yeah, Lauren, I got your hoodie. Generation X is kind of in between. We usually tell them that they ain't shit, they dropped the ball, drugs, and whatever else, and they kind of left us fatherless homes. I think the fatherless homes kind of start with a little bit of the boomers, though, the end of the boomers, somewhat. But just giving y'all the rhetoric when we go back and forth. The millennials and Gen Z align for the most part. I think we think they soft though, like the Gen Zers, but we listen to the same rappers and things of that nature. So we kind of align. And it's usually Gen Z and millennials kind of pushing back at the Gen X and the baby boomers. We agree with them more than we disagree.
Him, what are you?
Millennial.
And but you're almost 40, and you saying you kind of align with the Gen Z, which is what, early 20s? I don't know. Maybe I don't know the
So
generation.
it would be 81 to 96, I think, is millennials. So like for instance, the kids I coach, right? They are Gen Z, but I resonate with them better than the Gen X coaches is because we listen to like the same rappers, like it's that 15-year gap is closer than you might assume. And again, I'm just giving y'all the what I've seen, what actually happens on the panels. I'm usually not arguing with Cheeky or Sway. I might be going back and forth with the older gentlemen as opposed to them. That's what I'm saying.
Oh,
You know,
okay. Yeah, okay. I've seen you do that.
yeah.
But yeah, that's okay. I'll talk later because I'm like, I see you also really more so resonating with late Gen X. I'm a late Gen X.
That's fair. I'm not excluding me. I'm just looking at the arguments, how they go, how they come across.
Okay.
Yeah. Just for everybody, Um, so, but we never quite went through it with the ladies. But today we have Gen X, millennials. I think that's probably the gist. And then tomorrow I have all ladies of Gen Z. So it'll be a separate conversation, but I'm interested to have it. You know what I'm saying? So, what's you guys' perception of Generation Z? How do you look at them? How do you see them?
I think a lot of times they sensitive. Actually, that's like these 15-year-olds and stuff. Yeah, they a little sensitive about everything.
They are.
I think so. I think everything becomes a issue for them. That's why we have so much. They talk about all like this teen mental health. Not saying that's a big deal, but I think it's like higher now. It's more prevalent now because they end up being a lot of sensitive to a lot of things, in my opinion.
Damn. So that's what the guys say.
Yeah, I'll echo that. I believe that, and I said it a while back. I think that Gen Z don't have any perseverance or mental toughness. I think that they want everything easily coming to them, and I don't think they really know good work ethic.
Mm-hmm.
They want to be at $100,000 straight out of high school just because they feel they deserve it because they're entitled to because they were, and that's not how we are. And I don't think that's how the real world really is. I think that they're super microwave generation. They don't have a really good work ethic, and they don't have like the tenacity.
I was about to say fortitude.
Fortitude, good one. That's a good one. That's a good one. Fortitude.
Think about today. We had a whole snowstorm. These kids have no school. I was like, that's a dusting. We used to have to go to school in like damn near blizzard weather. I'm like, and I'm from New York, so I was like, what the hell?
Just think the times are different. Like we experience life pre-internet, so we know what it is to have that perseverance or what that fortitude because we know how to switch it off. Whereas they were born into this, they have no idea what life is like without it. So that's why it's a microwave generation. That's why they want everything so fast and quick, and they know the patience of waiting to do something.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I think more than anything too, they also lack social skills. They do not know how to communicate with society, with one another. If it's not, on TikTok or, some form of social media platform, they do not know how to communicate. And I think a lot of them have a lot more social anxiety than generations prior because of that lack of interaction and face to face having to talk to people.
Right.
It's not a thing that they have. Everything is internet, everything is electronic. And although the technology, this is going to be a great generation with regard to content creation and things like that. They're just really, really lacking the ability to function in society. I think that's why they get so sensitive and why they're so offended by everything. It's just they just don't know how to talk.
And they're very dismissive of what has come before them. It's like if you ask them things that we did as children to make the world the way it is, it's like they're very dismissive of what we have done. As women, it's like, okay, you can read everything, but we actually experienced these things that you're reading about. And it's like the older generation can't really tell them anything because they think they discovered everything. Everything is at their fingertips and the internet. You haven't been through this, you haven't been through that, but it's like, okay, we know better than you. You can't tell us anything. You have your experience is not important. And that's very disheartening because someone who's been through it, who's physically, mentally been through it, doesn't resonate with them. It just doesn't resonate with them. It's hard to get through to those people sometimes. It's just difficult.
What do you think they've seen that tells them, why would I listen to y'all? Do you, because Dana, what I'm saying is, they're not that way for no reason, is my assumption.
I think it's because they have more access than we grew up with. So not only access to information, but access to people. So they have this sense of entitlement or this feeling that they know everything because everything is available at their fingertips. Like we were never in a generation where you could DM, Shaq or, a celebrity or somebody that you admire, a rapper or whatever, and have that real life, like kind of interaction with them. So because they have access to people, they have more access to information than ever before. I feel that they think there's nothing that they can't, if they don't know it, they'll find it. And often the sources and the information is wrong and incorrect, but that's a different conversation.
Now, okay. So you think that they would be better off if they didn't Google it and talk to somebody who perhaps experienced it? What do you think what's the overarching benefit of talking to you when they can just look it up and research a bunch of different sources?
Because anybody can put anything on the internet. So nothing has to be credible. Nothing has to be authentic. It can, it's not, there's more misinformation than there is solid information. So just because you can Google it doesn't mean that you're finding truth.
Yeah.
I understand. But like when they said we used to go to school in all types of snow, right?
Yeah.
No, we didn't.
I did as a New Yorker. Yes, I did.
Yeah, sure, right. So everybody, we understand, right? But no, we didn't. When it snowed too much and they couldn't plow the roads, we stayed home, right? Because also, and there was even one day, there was 2 days when I was in 8th grade, we didn't go to school because the temperature was too cold. And so I'm saying that to say, motherfuckers be embellishing. So what's the difference between talking to Nay and the internet?
We have more pictures.
They act like we went to school through blizzards and we shoveling while we walking.
Yeah,
no,
the blizzard of '96. So that's the only time I really remember having.
Come on, because what I'm saying, when people tell stories, they sensationalize. I get it. I'm not saying Nay's odd. Yeah. I'm saying when we talk to the kids, we want them to think we Samson. But no, we stayed the fuck home.
But no, I mean, like I have photo albums. I can show proof of my stuff.
I'm not saying we didn't go where they fucked it up and we like, why are we here? We had days like that, but generally we stayed home. Like if it was too much snow, unless you in Buffalo where they got big ass dumbass trucks, or Erie, Pennsylvania, but they can clean the roads. Like, so what I'm saying is, what's the difference between talking to you and getting it from the internet, where they can get multiple sources and then vet the sources with other sources?
You're right. There's definitely a benefit to it. I'm not saying that there's not, and they should have to do things the old fashioned way and go to the library and look up card catalogs and shit like that. Okay. What I'm saying is I was responding to what HQ was saying about how you can't tell them shit and they think that they know everything because of the access to the information.
So HQ, let me ask, if they reflect on your generation, are they wrong for thinking that?
No, they're not. They only see from their point of view. I mean, we have experienced stuff without the internet, without having to get all of these sources and vet these sources. We've had real life experience.
Okay.
So they're only coming from their truth. They're only coming from that one particular point of view. We can say we've been on the internet and looked things up. We can say I walked down the street and I had to shovel snow going down that driveway. We could say that. They can't say both experiences. So they just dismiss this experience and think this is all that it encompasses. And it's a whole colorful world that has experienced all of these things without the benefit of the internet. And then they just say, oh, we just don't want to believe you. It's anecdote. We just don't want to hear what you got to say. But we're going to listen to all of this that's on here. And this could be fake. It could be whatever. You don't know the truth of what you're always reading.
Okay. So Love, same question. Do you think they have a point in not listening based on what they know to be true, based on the stereotypes, based on the history?
I think that you do yourself a disservice if you don't learn from current history, people that lived in current history, like recent history. I think you do yourself a huge disservice by doing that.
Yeah.
And that's what they seem to miss. Like we are walking history right now. We lived through things in the 20th century. Right. It sounds crazy, right? We were living in the 20th century. Gen Z was born in the 21st century. Right. And so there's just certain things that added to our fortitude. There's just certain things that there's certain truths that we can give you that you can actually get from the internet. And that's part of the problem too. They don't know how to be relational. They want to get everything from the internet and virtually, when we really had to be very social, because if I didn't go outside, I didn't know social skills. Right. You know, I had to know how to talk to people that were kind of hard to talk to. I had to learn to get to know Dana for who she is and have real conversations to her face. Right. You know what I'm saying? We had to learn how to do conflict resolution. And I think that but the Gen Z, those very important skills, and so their coping skills are severely lacking. So there's things that they can learn from us on how we coped, because human beings, I mean, fundamentally aren't that different.
Us? But when we have these conversations, all we talk about is what we had to go through, and men's faults, women's faults, the drugs, the guns, etc. How you guys were latchkey and had to fight your way and raise yourself. That doesn't sound like I could learn what not to do, but I don't know if I heard that and be like, let me go to this source for the right answers.
But we made mistakes. We had bumps and bruises along the way, so we can tell you what I did do that was right.
No, what I'm saying, but hear me, right? So it's if I'm them and I'm saying, okay, they had crack epidemic, families breaking up. No, seriously, right? Neighborhoods infested with guns and drugs, right? Breaking down of the nuclear family, Section 8, government programs that we just stayed on forever, right? Women saying they don't need men not stepping up. Again, this is what, if you look at it, they could prove these points. So then I'm gonna say, let me take somebody from that came through all that comes from that and say, let me get advice from them. If you heard that objectively, would that make sense?
I'll say it again. People that lived through the crack epidemic and still became successful, you can learn from them. I believe that you can glean from someone who got through the crack epidemic as a child and still became successful.
Oh, I was just about to ask you mean the people that were on crack or the ones who grew up as kids during it?
I mean, as kids, like we grew up around, like Ham said, we saw the crack epidemic. I wasn't a crackhead.
Yeah.
I weren't crackheads, but I knew people that were there in the neighborhood. And
I'm not disputing that. I'm not disputing that. I'm saying if you grouped all that stuff together, all those truths, right? You would then say, let me go to these people and figure out what's what. Okay, if you're saying okay, I'm just wondering, does it make sense that they do not?
I don't believe that they should just throw our experiences away. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Don't throw our experience away. What?
Well, let me get it. All right. No, I understand your answer. Let me just see. Anybody else have a thought, or is Love on point with it? I'm just asking.
No, so if I'm understanding it right, you're saying basically it makes sense that they don't want to hear nothing from us based off how things are or how they perceive things to be now because of, our lives, right?
Yep.
Like basically they have the right not to value what we say. For instance, we didn't value what our parents said until you got to the age and you're like, oh, well, now that's what they were talking about. Now you sound like your mom, you sound like your dad now. That's us. So I think it just comes in living and having certain experiences based off, and then what information you value, whether it's coming from a parent, another ancestor, a family member, a friend, a mentor, or the internet. So, yeah.
A friend to tell a friend, and we out.